Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week here to talk about the local real estate market here on the Duncan Duo Show. I'm Andrew Duncan, joined by Robert Johnson, president of our Duncan Duo real estate team, and Aaron Davis with strategic title. And we're going to talk to you first about something that's just near and dear to everyone's hearts during the holidays. Since you're out there getting gifts for your kids, why not give them a house? It's so there was an article I saw and it came out, I think, from Realtor.com, and it was how to buy a house for your child even if you aren't loaded. If you are loaded, it's really easy. You just write a check. If you're not loaded, the article goes through some strategy. But I also think it's really important to understand that there's a lot of intricacies, and specifically on the title front, that you can run into when you're buying a house for a child. Are you mortgaging the house? Are you putting it in your name later to deed it to your child? Do you want tax consequences, that could be triggered depending on how you title the property or how you pass the property to them? And then certainly, how do you want to handle liability? How do you want to, gift it, so to speak? So, Aaron, obviously, if you're buying the house for your kid, there's some intricacies there that have to get discussed ahead of time, because I can't tell you how many times we deal with this, where someone's like, oh, I want to add this person to the title. Oh, I want to do this, or I want to do that. Okay, do you understand what that means?
There's consequences no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So we've of course dealt with this for years. You always run into whether there's a child in title on purpose or by accident via death. Sometimes there's an estate issue, so all of a sudden you have minors who own a piece of property. Well, the law doesn't recognize them until they're of age, 18 years old. So you've got all sorts of, estate issues and attorney issues and ramifications and whatnot. But when buying a house for a child, the last thing I want to do is just, take my 12-year-old son Jackson and go, here you go, buddy.
Here's a house.
Here's an asset.
Yeah,
Good luck.
exactly.
Good luck, kiddo.
Yeah, teach him.
Yeah. So when doing so, and it's more relevant when you're saying you've got a kid going to college,
right,
and you're going to buy a condo close to USF. That's a great investment to go ahead and buy something now with the intention for them to have it. They could homestead it. They get tax advantage from it. Plus, it might be a great way to pay for some of their college at some point.
Yeah.
So it's buying that property in the right vehicle, whether that be via a trust, via an LLC. But please, I would highly advise you not to put your child in title alone.
Yeah.
Put them in title with you. Not to mention too. Now let's say it's my son Jack and Dad. As joint as a.
Or it could even be Jack and LLC.
Jack and LLC. That's right.
Yeah.
So you can have these different variables. But then what happens? What happens if Jack gets into an accident? He has an asset. Now all of a sudden you're drawn into it. So there's a lot of things just to be careful about. But I know tons and tons of people who have purchased good, cheap real estate or long-term holds for the benefit of their kids.
Another option is obviously mortgaging. You can mortgage the property, put it in their name, and again, depending on age, you're not going to do that for a underage or a non-adult. But let's say you've got a millennial that's still living at home, and you kind of want to get them out, and maybe they can't qualify for a mortgage. Maybe you be the mortgage. So you help them buy the house, and then they make payments to you. Again, understanding and knowing what the ramifications are of that. Ultimately, you can also gift them money. You let them buy the house themselves if they're, again, of age enough and able to qualify. That's the deterrent for a lot of millennials, Robert. I think it's the down payment money. That's what holds a lot of millennials back from buying today. It isn't necessarily the credit or the income, it's the down payment money.
Yeah, and we hear that all the time where people don't think they can buy a house because of the down payment money. So, I mean,
it's a common thing, and so when they don't have the money, mom and dad can obviously gift the money. Now, if you're going to do that, and obviously we don't have Mike Yates from Atlantic Bay Mortgage this week, but if you're going to do that, you got to make sure to have a paper trail. You got to document.
Oh yeah, and that's the biggest thing is especially when you're going to get a mortgage. I mean, you want to document everything. You definitely have to have the paper trail for something like that, and the source. And again, Mike could talk better about it, but that's usually the. Just make sure all that is sourced somewhere.
You can certainly buy the house yourself and then rent it out to them. Let them treat it as their own, but then you're the financial bearer. so you're technically the owner, and then certainly at a later date you could gift it to them depending on the, the tax laws and your own personal situation. But ultimately that's another option that a lot of people partake in, is they simply say, I'm going to buy an owner and I'm going to rent it back to my kids.
Yeah, and I see a good strategy as well. Let's say that the kid, is of age, 18 or older, and the parent does want to kind of, get them, off the couch and out into society and be a homeowner. Why not put the asset in the kid's name by themselves, and then the parent hold a mortgage and record a lien against the property, which then that controls, the kid can't do anything additionally without the parent's consent. So we've actually seen, some custom wording on some of the private money mortgages that we've, put on properties, where you put a clause on there that no subordinate lien can be placed without the mortgagor's consent. So therefore, if there's an equity line, kid goes, I'm going to go get an equity line on top. I'm going to get a second mortgage on top of mom's first.
Right.
No, they can't do that. They have to have.
Yeah,
consent.
it's a smart idea. So again, if you're feeling festive this holiday season, hopefully if you want to just surprise your kid with, hey son, here's a house.
There you go, kid.
We wanted to give you some holiday tips on how to give your kid the best present of all for Christmas.
How great would that be as a kid? You think you're getting keys, like, oh, Dad bought me a new car, and they know we bought you this piece of garbage house out in the middle of the hood
that you have to go fix up. You got to go fix up on the weekends.
Congrats, you're going to go sweat equity.
I have seen a lot of people do that with certain aged kids. I mean, again, the child has to be developed enough. I mean, you can't be doing this with a 10-year-old. You could if the 10-year-old was really sharp. But, with teenagers and college students where they do that and they say, look, you're going to work on it on the weekends, and then when we sell it, you're gonna share in the profit, almost as a way to teach them entrepreneurship. I know that's something that a lot of people do, and I think that's a great idea.